About
Ed.
your mother?
What?
Can I say something bad about your mother?
Please do. What is going on, joysticks, you bastard?
Oh, sure, but we can badmouth joysticks all we want.
Oh, joystick's dead to me. There's freaking... There's... What? Why is something playing? What the heck? Yeah. What's going on? Wait a second. What the hell is going on here? Oh, who's recording me, you bastards?
I don't think
I'm
What?
not.
I don't use this enough to know.
Oh, duh.
not-
The freaking live stream started automatically. It never starts automatically. Okay. I'm better now.
He never has a second cup at home.
God almighty. I'm freaking out of my mind.
That's a callback. He never
Yes,
has a
indeed.
cup at home.
Hold on one second here. Oh, man. Do 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 do.
So you asked about Trailer Park Boys. I've seen it in Netflix, but I have not yet ventured into it. Is it worth watching?
Oh, I don't know. It's not for everybody. I think it's hysterical. I just asked because I just saw on YouTube Bubbles did the that ice bucket challenge thing.
Ah, okay.
Yes, lots of swearing.
One of the guys I work with did that this morning, actually, at the hotel pool.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm tempted to buck the trend and just like record myself like going out to the ALS website and giving him $10 and going, look, this is $10 more than what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, no doubt. All
Awareness is one thing, but not if it doesn't result in any. Not if it doesn't
Have
yield
you heard
anything.
their donations are up like 2,000%?
Are they really? Well, that's good,
yeah.
I guess.
It's very, very high. Yeah, unbelievably high. Delightful. Okay, Rob, check, 1, 2.
Check, 1, 2. This is my voice on TV.
El Jefe Mundo. Jeff.
1, 2, 3, 4. I can't think of anything more pertinent to say.
At least it rhymed. That was good.
Yeah, that was in the theme of the. Oh, by the way, this is an all rap show. You must rap everything.
Oh my God.
Everything will be a rap battle today.
I'm gonna go freeform then.
Yeah, I'm gonna freeform so good you might not even think it's rap, but
Right.
you'd be mistaken.
All right, good. All right, we are ready to rock and roll both of those things. Guantanamero. All right. Whatever the show is, After Dark. That one there. Beginning in 3, 2, 1, record. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Grumpy Old Men After Dark, episode number 73. Joining me once again is Mr. Robot Rob Spider. Rob, how are you? Good to see you again.
I'm all right. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing okay. You know, it's Texas. It's 1,000 degrees out right now. But it's actually a cool 1,000 degrees. You know how it is, low humidity.
Yeah, it's a dry heat.
It's a dry heave. Yeah, it's actually not too bad today. I only got to like 94, so that's not bad actually.
Very nice.
And a guy who's never seen 94 where he lives in his life, Jeff Bronco Sire. Jeff, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
Good day. It's been 94 in like my oven maybe. Or maybe the microwave.
Wait a second, we're not talking about C.
We like slightly warmed meat.
Yeah, we're not talking about degrees C either, by the way. This is a degrees F. We're Fers down here.
Yeah, you and Sri Lanka or some other, some other really relevant place.
It's us, Burma, and Liberia.
Oh, Liberia, yes, that bastion of freedom.
Right.
Yeah, we again,
That's the name.
Liberia, another one of our shames here down in the lower 48.
Oh, yes.
We kind of caused that too. Sorry,
It's a long list.
well, kind of, hey, just send them back. Oh, that'll work fine. Sorry, that's too bad. We had a discussion about Liberia without JJ. How did that work?
Oh my God.
Wow, this is not even a minute.
No, you understand. That's not my point.
I know.
I mean, seriously, you got people out there, Rob, who are confused if they should be offended or not. You just drove them to offense. They're now going to be offended and now put spam on our forums. I understand.
Hey, people on the internet don't need me to tell them to be offended. They do that well enough all on their own.
Oh, that's fantastic. We had a little rough weather here the other night. I moved to Texas. I expected it to be nothing but tornadoes and hail all summer, and it hadn't been much of that. But we had a thunderstorm that I thought was going to collapse the house. I literally thought my neighbor was shooting a howitzer off. It was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Yep.
Now, do you get a lot of lightning as well, or is it primarily?
Oh no, we get it all.
Noise?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pestilence, locust.
Do you have to have lightning rods on the house and everything?
No. As a matter of fact, no, we don't have. It's not quite. What do we say? The Mars colony. But
even here in Michigan, most farmhouses have lightning rods on because they tend to be a little taller.
Yeah. So it's not as flat and open in the DFW area than you think it would be.
Okay.
There's trees where I live. I don't go out back.
I looked at it.
There's not sagebrush.
Flat. So.
Yeah, but it's not sagebrush and friggin' tumbleweeds and even though I think I saw a scorpion in my car the other day, I saw this really little thing with a stinger on the back of it, and I think it was a scorpion.
You ran away screaming like a girl. When you came back an hour later, it was gone.
But I think which is the worst thing possible. That's the worst part is finding something like that in your car. And then coming back and it's gone.
Yeah.
Now you don't know where it is.
Well, I found it as I was doing 70 miles an hour down the highway.
Yeah, and then you've got to burn the car. There's
I know. There's probably a nest of them in there. And you ever see those little? You maybe see pictures. There's the normal big freaking terrifying scorpions. You know what I'm talking about? These are just little bitty ones.
Yeah. Guess what? Doesn't matter.
It's a scorpion.
Doesn't matter.
It's still a scorpion.
Yeah, it's still a scorpion.
Hopefully my wife still doesn't listen to this show because I haven't told her about it.
Well, that's nice.
Well, no, I'm not trying to kill her. I just don't want anybody to, burn the car. What's that?
I'm pretty sure that if she finds it, she'll tell you.
Yes, with an auto repair bill. As she dove out of it going 60 down the highway and let it go over the side of the road.
I think if my wife went out and found a scorpion in our car, I'd just get home from work and she would say, "Guess what? I sold the car."
At least she'd sell it. I'd take it out and burn it right now. There's
not even worth scrap.
I don't even want to wait for it to see if it goes out on its own or try to bait it. Nope. It's going to drop a blowtorch in it and walk away. And then not look at it when it explodes.
Oh, of course. Of course. So what have you guys been doing this week? Anything exciting over the last week? I can't even hardly remember the last week anymore.
Yeah, I've been trying. I'm just recovering from the travels and the and for a good few weeks there, I was in panic build mode with the toy box and.
I have to say, I saw that those pictures on Twitter. That looks amazing. You did a fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I was very pleased with it. I'm still in the process of writing it up. I tried to submit it today to the Replica Props Forum website and had some issues with the posting there, but eventually it'll be up, and then I'll link it over at gamingafterdark.com. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I was in panic mode there in the last 3 weeks or so because Jason and I had decided on the timing he was flying in and was going to fly out from Kentucky, and so our deadline was pretty fixed. So I'm just not sure what to do with myself now. I've got all this free time.
So what's going on with you, El Jefe, up there in Ontario?
Well, I worked all weekend, and
Nice.
I have a little bit of time off now. My sister lives in England. She's a banker, and she's home for about a week, so we're going out for supper with her, and yeah, I get to see her. My wife and I went over to England and spent about 10 days with her in June. So it's kind of funny. She goes away. She's been living over there for about a year and a half, and I've probably seen her and talked to her more frequently than we did for the last couple of years. But she was living like 60 kilometers away. So,
Which for our listeners at home, that's 796 miles.
yeah.
I thought it was an actual a pulsar. One pulsar is 60 kilometers.
It's a
What
0.6
AU
AU.
unit.
It's 27 light years, I think. You know, she lived on Alpha Centauri. Weird.
The last time I was on the show, I was talking about I was just starting the work to redo our front steps, and that is all complete now. So
Oh, excellent.
it's even paid for and everything. Huh?
Wow, nice.
Imagine that.
Oh, wow. Good. It's good to get those things done in the summertime when it's, you know, only 58, not, you know, 27 below zero.
Yeah.
Now, were
Well,
you
got to get it in before the September snow.
right?
Yeah.
Now, were you doing? Was it stone or was there concrete involved too? There was concrete.
There was no. This was all interlocking stone. So
Okay.
There wasn't any poured concrete or anything like
Okay.
that.
So you didn't have
and,
to do rebar and all that.
No rebar or anything, and it was. We were actually fairly lucky. We were able to use kind of the existing steps, and you know, it was kind of the footprint was pretty similar to what was there before, so we didn't have to do a whole lot of preparation work with the ground was already compacted from being there before. Okay. So yeah, so it went pretty smoothly, and the friend of mine that I had kind of like. I think I told you guys before, about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, the thing was kind of coming apart. So I took it all apart and then put it back together to just kind of reset everything. Right. And that was enough of an experience to let me know that I never wanted to take on a sizable interlocking stone project like that on my own.
Right.
Or be the primary guy. So my buddy who was a mason, he came over and I was his slave. So I assisted him. I don't want to take the credit for this, but
did you get your journeyman card while you're there, so you could start the journeyman masonry?
Nope, I'm not. Yeah, I'm totally incompetent. Not even worthy of that.
Now, when you say interlocking stones, is this like kit interlocking stones, or these are just stones that have been shaped to fit together well?
No, this is like the Unilock brand. So they have like you buy it by the skid, and each skid is about, I think this was 90 square feet, and they give you like patterns, like they're variable sizes, but they give you patterns that will use up the entire skid. And then we had there was a bit of a retaining wall we had to build as well, and then the capstones, and yeah, so it's ended up looking, it never comes out exactly the way that you envisioned it in the first place, but we're very, very happy with the results. So
good. Now, how many did you have left over?
Well, we had about a little bit over half of a skid, which is now currently in my backyard, and I'm still in the process of mulling over what to do with it, because you can't return half of the skid, right? So
I think you need to acquire a few Trans Ams without tires. Get them up on blocks in the backyard.
Yeah. No, I don't live in that sort of neighborhood. That would be frowned upon.
So there's a state that's shaped like a mitten directly to your west that probably has plenty that you could probably scoop up.
But they're already up on blocks, so they're not going anywhere.
Oh yeah, so you want to have to get a flatbed to move those. You really want tires on them so you can take the tires. The joy is in lifting them and taking the tires off of them. So good stuff. Yeah, nice.
We do have our fair share of those type of vehicle hoarders, but yeah, I don't think that would fly in my neighborhood. I would, for the most part, people, I'm blissfully ignorant of most of my neighbors, and but I'm sure they would be very eager to introduce themselves if I started to do stuff like that.
Right.
We do have a crazy neighbor, which apparently we are not the only person that referred to them as the crazy neighbor, but they're about 2 blocks away, and they're they're the kind of, this guy every Halloween he goes out, gets all this lumber, and he builds this crazy god awful thing that always gets on the news, like, oh, and then they come and like, oh, how quaint, this guy's built a little haunted house in the front of his house, which after Halloween sits there in various, half disassembled for like, between then and Christmas, at which point you can imagine what he does at Christmas time, so, yeah.
Welcome to the pedo barn.
Yeah.
So what? So
Wait a
he
second.
builds-
Did you just accuse the Christmas the Halloween guy of being a pedophile?
No, I
just based on the
accused him
thing.
of I accused him of having a pedo barn. I didn't.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
I've
Is there a
got a
sign on the front that says free candy inside?
I've got
What?
a fishing boat. It doesn't make me a fisherman. That's all I'm saying. So, now does he build this thing from scratch every year?
He built it from scratch every year, yeah. And they actually, his neighbors, I know that there have been bylaw enforcement people involved on a couple of occasions to try and get this guy to clean things up. And I've seen him when he was disassembling it with his garage door open, and it's like, like a storage unit that's got, like, it's like the door goes up and there's just a wall of stuff. And like you probably couldn't fit a straw in there, but yeah.
I may perhaps have a storage unit that looks like that.
Yeah.
I have maybe 3 rooms of furniture in one 10x10 storage unit.
Yes, but that storage unit isn't attached to your house where a car would normally sit.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That is correct.
that of all the things you mentioned, I think that's the part that kind of weirds me out the most, is that he builds it from scratch every year.
Every year. Yeah.
So what's he doing?
Like,
does he burn the lumber when he's done, or I mean, what?
Well, no. Well, there's. I think. I kind of suspect he might just throw the lumber over his fence into his backyard, because I dread a shudder just at the thought of what that backyard looks like. But I don't know where it goes.
He's probably got a couple Trans Amps back there. You could borrow one.
He probably does. Yeah, but like mid-October every year, this guy, you see the lumber in his front yard. Oh,
Yeah.
There's the dog. And and he builds it from scratch every year. Like I don't know the cost that's involved with this, but it's fairly substantial. I think a few $100, anyways.
Yeah, well, lumber's not cheap.
He should just hold a neighborhood bonfire at the end, just burn that freaking thing to the ground in the front.
I can tell you, the neighborhood would
Burning
love
Man
a
North.
bonfire, and they would burn his house to the ground if they had an
Just keep it
adoption.
going. Oh, look at it, knock it over.
Oh, jeez, look at that. Hey, that's terrible.
Hopefully the family's out. Somebody hurry,
Think
quick.
about your
Call
house.
this.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going to live,
Well, we got to get back now.
People are in there salting the earth, and
Good luck with all
so it'll
that.
grow. That's freaking hilarious.
Well, I remember I have a friend who lives in Montreal, and in the 90s, they had the Hells Angels were at war with a Quebec bike gang called the Rock Machine, and it kind of like the Chicago in the 20s, like the government doesn't move fast enough. Once public opinion kind of hits that tipping point, and they're like, we've had enough. Government doesn't move fast enough. People are just like, get these guys out of here. And in Montreal, the thing was the bikers set off a bomb that killed a kid, and that was just overnight. It was like, we've had enough. These guys got to go. Yeah. And nothing was happening, and people were freaking out, and it was getting worse and worse. And so what they did was they went with a bylaw enforcement officer, and he wrote a ticket and put it on the Hells Angels chapter house that said, you can't fortify. We have a bylaw that says you can't fortify homes. You can't put, bars on your windows and that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Put that on the door, and then the tow trucks hooked onto the bars and ripped the windows and doors off. And then he put a little ticket that said, you can't have a house that doesn't have windows and doors, and you're evicted.
Wow.
And they were gone in a day.
No.
Yeah. So
how has nobody made a movie about this?
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, that's the tragedy of having a media system that goes in one direction.
Yeah,
you guys to everybody
Right.
else.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't hear you guys. Our music's up too loud, so we can't.
Yeah,
hear what's going
exactly.
on over there.
Well, you know, that's you guys do kind of have some laws about Canadian content on your radio
Well,
stations and TV
hey,
stations.
we have to have those laws because if we didn't have them, we would be like we'd be up to our necks in the swamp of your media.
Right. It would be America too.
It's kind of hard to listen to the radio up there, though.
Yeah, what's wrong with Nickelback?
Yeah, every third song is Nickelback. Oh, no, there's some Bryan Adams. Nice, very nice, well done. Oh, Bare Naked Ladies again, great.
Yeah.
Although honestly, I would take a lot of that music over what they play now. I
Right.
can't listen to commercial radio in the U.S. at all.
you
Well,
mean
you
top
can,
40, right?
Well, top 40 plus. I mean, it's there's not a station I can listen to that's music at least.
No easy listening. You're not a big,
No.
you know, yeah, you just sit there if you like
Phil
Pina Coladas.
Collins.
If you like Pina Colada. I can see
No.
Rob rocking it out at the office. Just some sweet Jackson Brown tunes in the middle of his day.
It's the saddest thing ever. Typically when I'm at work, I have headphones on most of the time, and I'm listening to white noise. Believe it or not, just to
Oh
drown.
my God.
That's about right. All
Which,
it does
you know,
is
I guess that's that's Nickelback too. So I guess it all comes around again.
it
so.
just grows my rage. I play a high-pitched whine constantly in the background.
Caffeine's pretty good, but rage keeps me awake all day long.
Rage keeps me warm in the winter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Oh man, rage.
Hey,
rage,
speaking of
rage.
rage, I'll make the segue. So
That was
picked up a
fantastic.
game. Thank you. So I picked up a game this week that I've been playing quite a bit of. Witcher 2. It was released, I think, in 2011. It was a sequel to a 2007 game. It got great reviews, I think. I mean, the Metascore on it's still pretty high. And Jason's making a face because he's angry he didn't get in on the sale. I believe.
No,
No?
gastrointestinal issues. That's fine.
Oh, all right. Well, well, we're going back to Nickelback again. Is that? All right. So, and you know, I really want to like the game. It's got a lot of what I like in it. It's third person. It's got, you know, swords and magic and daggers and spells and traps and everything. But it's got some fatal flaws, man, that I can't get past. It makes it really hard to play. The interface on it is really clunky is the only word I can use. So like when you walk up to the edge of anything that you're going to jump down, you got to push X to jump down, and then it takes a minute for that animation to kick in. And so it's less action. I mean, it's almost turn-based, but it's not, right? And the other side of that is when after you're done battling, you can go up to a corpse if you're gonna search it, and the loot bag doesn't appear for like anywhere from like 3 to 10 seconds.
Wow.
So you can just sit there and watch, and you're not sure if a loot bag's going to spawn or not, but you just sit there and watch it, or you could leave and come back to it. But it's just, ordinarily, you get done killing everything in the room, you run around hitting X, and you pick everything up, and you move on. And with this, you've almost got to go back through the dungeon again to pick up all the loot. And then just little stuff like there are a bunch of it's a lot like Fable in that it's got a lot of like side quests in like mini games and stuff in the taverns, and you can play dice and all sorts of things. And so I go to this guy in the bar and start up a game of, it's basically poker with dice. And he says, "Oh, I've got this trinket that I can't make heads or tails of, but if you can, if you prove yourself in a game, you can have it." So I start playing, and I win a couple of games and I lose a couple of games, and so I think, well, maybe I need 5 wins, and then maybe I need 10 wins, and I get to 20 wins, and so finally, like, what the hell do I have? There's not a whole lot to the game. I mean, you win, you lose, and there's really no other metric to it. So I go out on the web and I find out that apparently it was a promotion for a special character that if you beat him, he would send you to a website that would unlock an in-game character. but the website's discontinued and the promotion is over, and they just didn't change the content.
That's fantastic.
So I spent an hour playing this game trying to figure out what this trinket was, and it's not even available anymore.
Wait, hold on.
No, this is a 3-year-old game. I get it. I'm not asking that the special characters be in there, but go ahead and unlock it.
Right. So
or something.
So Jeff, remember in Vanilla WoW when they opened the gates of Ahn'Qiraj?
Yes.
And you had to do all those. They were just collecting all these war materials, right? Turn in.
Server wide, weren't they? Like it was a big deal.
Yeah, huge amounts. You had to collect cloth, you had to collect stones, you had to collect gold, you had to turn it into different emissaries. Those freaking things stayed in game for like 5-6 years, and I had no idea. When I started playing in BC. I had no idea what it was for. I think I gave that thing freaking like 20 stacks of cloth before I knew it wasn't doing anything anymore. Sorry, go ahead, Rob. It's something very similar to that.
It's very similar to that. Yeah, exactly. You know, if you've got temporary assets, take them out of the game once the promotions are over, once the mission's over. And so it's just stuff like that. I mean, Jason, are you listening to something?
No.
I'm picking up audio from somewhere else. Anyway, that's fine. It's probably Japanese listening station somewhere. I'm picking it up in my teeth.
It's fine.
So,
my wife and my daughter are downstairs talking, but I don't
think that's
know if I can pick it up. Yeah.
That's fine. Anyway, if it's not on the recording, doesn't matter. But all the animations in the game take way too long for they're trying to bill it as an action game or action adventure game, and it's you have a hard time. It's not even like you have to move fast. I mean, you just by the time you lay a spell down or a trap, it takes forever, and you got mobs on top of you and everything. I don't know. It's the timing in it. It's really wonky. So it's still a good game. I'm still going to play it to completion, but it's got a lot of flaws to it.
Well, people love the Witcher games, right? And
yeah.
I played Witcher 1, and I felt the same way about Witcher 1 than Witcher 2.
Really? Okay.
I felt that it was not as responsive as like RPGs that I really liked. I'm getting some bleed back too. I don't know what it's from, it plays a lot like Dragon Age, right? From a perspective, but it's not. The controls are not near as tight as they should be.
Right. Exactly.
Not even close. So, yeah. So, but I guess, what did you get it for? $4?
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Oh. Well, you can't complain too much.
No, I can't. I mean, I guess I'm kind of wondering. I'm wondering whether it's the same way on Xbox, because I know it was, or at least I think it was on Xbox. It was on consoles. And I'm kind of curious to find somebody who's played it on the console and see if it had some of the same issues.
It's hard to tell, because if you look at it, the Metacritic score is about 88.
Yeah.
Wow, that's high.
It's wildly popular. I mean, controls to me are like number 2 in the game. I mean, the controls got to be right on and intuitive and all that, and they're just not. In fact, one of the things that got me was that in the poker dice game, you had to select the ones that you wanted to re-roll, right? And it says push X to reselect your dice, and I'm trying it. I can't re-roll any dice. And so I look online, and sure enough, you got to push the Y button, not the X button. I'm using a Xbox controller. So just like, even the on-screen prompts are trolling you with incorrect information.
It sounds almost like you didn't get, like, what are you playing it on?
On PC.
Sounds almost like you, instead of the PC version, you got like the Xbox version that was just ported for PC or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got it through Steam. I mean, it's a but presumably it's the one that everybody else played at the time. But I mean, well, it's not complaining for a $4 game, obviously, but
you need the enhanced edition.
Maybe that's it. I thought that's what I had. Maybe the season pass includes all the patches that you're supposed to get.
Yeah. No patches for you. That's pretty freaking funny, dude. So I was playing. I talked about how I was playing Rogue Legacy last week, right? And that game is still freaking hard. and I got to like level 72, and I still didn't want to fight the boss, right? I was still having some problems, but I was still doing pretty well. I accidentally got into a boss room yesterday, and apparently I killed the boss in 3 hits. So I think I was powerful enough. Yeah. Yeah, the thing about that game is, Jeff, you play that at all, Rogue Legacy?
No, I don't. That's like it's almost like a 8-bit type thing.
It looks kind of like that. I would say, yeah, it kind of looks 8-bit, more 16-bit, but and it's kind of roguelike light. And it's really, really difficult. And but the thing about it is, you really don't have a whole lot of guidance, right? There's not a whole lot of help. You don't really know a whole lot about what's going to make you more powerful and how quickly you get powerful. So apparently, I downed my first boss. I looked, and my guess is I played it for about 23 hours before you kill the first boss.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of, but it's on. I guess it's on the Vita, crossplay on the PS3. I dig it a lot. So are you guys hearing me in the background?
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna drop and rejoin and see if that. I know that's caused it in the past.
Okay.
So
So Jeff's not hearing it. It may be Rob.
yeah, I'll drop and retry, and then maybe Jeff can drop after that. But yeah, Google Hangouts kind of does funny things sometimes. So I'll drop.
Jeez.
Just resend me an invite if you would, Jason.
Nope.
Wow, we've gotten rid of Rob.
That's right.
All right. Is that better? Nope.
Yeah,
sorry.
you got louder to me, anyway.
I got louder. This is a good stuff. People don't realize how this goes. No, he jumped right back in. Yep. Let's see. All right. Do you hear me same way?
Yeah, I'm still getting the feedback.
All right. Let me drop. If I drop,
Well,
it'll be all right, right?
You can't drop.
Oh, bastards.
All right, so Jeff,
you want me
drop
to?
and rejoin. Yeah, just try it.
All right.
We'll fix this in post.
Maybe.
Hold on. Say something. Say something.
Something. It's gone. It was Jeff.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Bastard.
I don't know if we're hearing his headphones or if it's just.
No, it's the Canadian spying on us.
Yeah, probably. Hey, as long as they leave feedback in the iTunes store, we're okay.
Yeah. Hey, Canadian Intelligence Service, if you're listening to this, please leave us a 5-star review in the iTunes store. Are you the ones posted on our freaking website, you bastards? All right, he's back. Oh, and it's back.
Is
Yeah,
it?
It's not too bad though. Yeah, it was gone when you were gone.
It's you.
I think it's Canadian intelligence listening to
I
us.
think they're
really?
listening. Never mind. It's the NSA. It's a Canadian NSA. It's the NSA.
Hey, that's it, eh?
There it is. Okay. Yes. Hey, how's it going, eh?
I'm really sorry to screw up your call, eh?
Hey, me and my brother Bob here. We just got this job. We
We
don't
didn't
really
know
know what
somebody
we're
was
doing.
using our internets.
So, I got a donut. It's a jelly. Sorry. I apologize for being racist against Canadians. Did you guys see Don Pardo died today?
I saw
Really?
that on the news, yeah. He was like 92 or something?
Yeah, so he's up
98
there, yeah.
years old.
98.
98. Wow.
And he was doing the announcing on Saturday Night Live, I think, up till like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Voice of a couple of generations.
Yeah, no. Every time Don Pardo is, to me, that guy is the announcer voice, right?
Oh, yeah.
He is the man. So he must have done that show for 40 years. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So So have how they say these celebrity people who that pass away, is that 3?
Oh, yeah. Comes in threes.
I think it is.
Robin Williams, and then who was the one there was somebody in the middle.
There was
The actress, Lauren
Yes.
Bacall, was that?
Yes.
Lauren Bacall, that's correct.
That's the one. Yep. That completes our trifecta.
Our cycle. And when does it start again? Probably next week.
Yeah, whenever the next one happens.
Have you guys ever been involved in those crazy celebrity death pools before?
No.
No.
You
But
know
I
what I'm
than-
talking
I'd
about?
like to hear you explain it though.
You know what they are?
Yeah.
Oh no, you go. It's a pool. You like throw in $5. You decide. You decide. You pick a celebrity name. Everybody agrees that that's a celebrity, and if they're the next one to die, you win the pool money.
I like that Jason's explaining this in a way that's like, oh, well, yeah. That's
Sure,
the death
everybody
pool.
knows.
Sure.
Wait a second.
Death pool.
No. No. You outed me. I'm the biggest black market celebrity death pool bookie in Texas. It's
right.
it's a high business. You know it is.
It is.
No, but no. I've always thought those a little macabre.
A little, yes.
A little macabre.
I would agree with you
A
there.
little macabre.
Well, people always seem to die at 27, so I'd go through the list of celebrities and see who's 26 right now, and then
Yes.
Is that a thing? They die at 27?
A lot of Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison. You go through the list of people who died when they were 27, and it's huge.
Really.
Bon Jovi made it.
We got to get XKCD on it and get him to plot that stuff out. You know, let's get an XY grid going and find out.
It sounds like it's all musicians though. Chris Farley. I wonder how old he was when he died.
He was in his 30s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cocaine kept him alive.
Yeah, that was a rough one for me. I don't know. I guess it's not a surprise that he was on massive amounts of cocaine, but
yeah, he was 33. That dude was very, very funny.
Yeah.
Here's some of them. There's let's see, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison.
Richie Valens, how old was he? He might have been.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of names that I'm skipping over here. Just Kurt Cobain. Pretty much all the ones that I said. Amy Winehouse.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See, I heard somebody explain that that one of the reasons why is that 27 is kind of like the age, like physically, when you've kind of just gotten beyond the kind of protection of a youthful body.
Right.
Where if you've been abusing yourself, that's kind of the age when it starts to catch up to you.
Huh.
That's when because a lot of these are drug overdoses and stuff like that.
Right.
That's when you burn through the last of your T cells.
Yeah.
And then then you got guys like Keith Richards who
has defied all odds.
Has broken the curve, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen. He's probably donated his body to science, and when he does finally pass away, it'll probably be at the ripe old age of 127.
Yeah.
They're going to cut him open. It's just dust is going to. He's going to be. It's going to be like the turkey in
Christmas Vacation.
In Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
He'd go.
Inside there'll be a little voodoo doll.
Yeah.
Either that or a pilot.
Yeah. That's
Oh yeah. So Richie Valens broke the curve the other way. He was 17. Wow.
Oh wow.
the Big Bopper. The Big Bopper.
No, Richie Valens.
But the Big Bopper was on that flight.
He was on the same same plane.
And Buddy Holly.
Yep. Yeah. That's freaking.
Buddy Holly was only 22. Jeez.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
And everybody
That's crazy
knows
when you see those like a yearbook photos from like the 50s about how like those people look like my grandparents.
Yes, exactly right.
Like, they do not look like high school kids. Like
yeah. Anytime you watch Mystery Science Theater or something where they show they show old movies from the 40s, 50s, and yeah, I mean everybody's wearing they got the receding hairline and they're college students, and
yeah.
Well, it's funny. Go ahead.
For our podcast, we just watched The Day the Earth Stood Still, and the one guy, like the guy who plays Klaatu, they say he's I think he's supposed to be 28 or something like that, and he looks like he's 50.
Yeah, but if you look it up, a lot of times those dudes look like they are age 28. That's what happens when you start smoking at 12.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Smoking at 12 and working on the farm. They're freaking out in the sun and smoking 3 packs of Marlboro or Pall Mall filters every day. It just freaking wrinkles you like a football.
Yeah, recommended by doctors.
Yeah, back then for health.
That's right. That's right.
It was
for the ill-defined term of vigor. It gives you vigor. What the hell is vigor?
I'm gonna start using. I have to write some performance appraisals soon. I think I'll be using the word vigor in them somehow.
Performs your job with vigor. It's not vigorous. You can't use vigorous.
No, with vigor.
Something with vigor. Yes,
with vigor.
Great vigor.
With great vigor. with monumental vigor.
A buddy of mine used to have a poster in his bathroom that was an ad from the late 50s or early 60s that had this hideous-looking guy who looked like he was up to no good, and he had his hands in it said Scott Towels because wet hands are for communists.
What the hell? Now there's a local establishment here that's called Yesterdog, which is like a hot dog joint, and they've got a lot of old signs kind of like that hanging up in the shop. And the one that I always loved was this. It's an ad for like a basically a Hostess cupcake or something, but they're called Cocoa Nut Rolls, and it says rich in dextrose.
Maltodextrose, maybe?
That's exactly.
Rich in dextrose.
Rich in dextrose.
And now.
Hey, that's one of them sciencey things.
That's right.
It's
rich in sugar.
We once called the Chinese at work when I was back when I worked somewhere else. We one night called for food, and we called for food almost every night. And we called the Chinese place for food, and we tried to order extra MSG on our food. And we basically got into this fight of, hey, we'd like some MSG. No MSG. We'd like MSG, please. No MSG. I want MSG. No MSG. And it just went back and forth. It was quite probably racist, actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, is that? Do they still use that for? I mean, I assume that all commercial food uses that, right? I mean,
what, MSG or?
Yeah, it's just a preservative, right?
Well, no, that was the whole thing on Chinese food, right? Was that?
Oh, is it a flavor? Is it a flavor enhancer?
Yeah, they still sell it in stores up here under the brand name. I think they call it Accent or something. Yeah, you can get it in like a salt shaker.
Huh.
No, I know about Accent. Yeah, MSG is. I think it was one of those things that for a while, people can be allergic to MSG. That's one of the issues.
Right.
But I think one of the things, there was an issue that for a while people thought it was dangerous, and it's not really dangerous. But for everybody knew that MSG is used quite a bit in Chinese food cooking. And the U.S. FDA, I'm looking at it, says considers the addition of MSG foods to be generally recognized as safe. So that's why I guess every Chinese food menu you still see it all the time. No MSG free.
Yeah.
Huh. It's going to be gluten soon, but MSG was like the gluten of the 70s.
That's I mean, gluten is just the next step in the whole, organic and all these things that are sort of, they're finding that a lot of stuff marked gluten-free isn't actually gluten-free.
Of course not.
A friend of ours' daughter has a gluten allergy sensitivity. I don't know how they've characterized it, but I mean, she was miserable from the age 4 to the age of 10.
Yep.
And so they finally got a proper diagnosis, and they fixed her diet. I mean, it's literally night and day. Now, I think if you don't have that allergy or that sensitivity, it's not. They're framing this whole anti-gluten thing as being, well, gluten's bad for you. I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, I think, the human race pretty much lived on gluten for an awful long time. So, I mean, I think the prevalence of the allergy is probably going up. But in and of itself, if you don't have the sensitivity, it's not inherently bad.
Well, I think the issue with it too, I've got family that have horrible gluten allergies. Actually, they didn't know what it was for a long time, but I think what's happening with the prevalence is, with GMOs and whatnot, what you see they found in wheat and wheat products is that the amount of gluten, is specifically wheat gluten too, that's in a typical item is I want to say like 12 times what it used to be because of the genetically enhanced, basically steroid-induced growth of some of these plants.
Yeah, but I've seen that stuff too. Although I don't know if I've seen it from any reputable research organization. Do you know who's doing that? I mean,
I
has
think
the
it
FDA
was
said that, or is...
I think it was the Liberian Center for Gluten-Free Studies and Whale Husbandry.
Probably the Barley Marketing Board.
Yeah,
Gluten's bad for you. You should stop eating it.
That's right.
Rice and Corn Farmers of America.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is we all see that stuff on Facebook. I mean, it's all these like there's just these 4-panel images that tell you what you should and shouldn't eat and what you should and shouldn't follow, and I can't trust any of them because all of them can be traced back specifically to either a lobbyist or somebody else who has another vested interest in it. So it's
so when you look up gluten levels in wheat, the first thing that comes up on Google is an article called "Research Shed Light on Gluten Issues" by the Whole Grains Council.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
An old ways program. We want to go back to the old ways. We want to eat like the Amish.
The old ways. In other words, the ways that we're currently doing it, and the way that we're tooled up for. So,
I read that book, The Rational Optimist, and he makes a very strong case of that whole argument that things were so great in the old days. No, they weren't at all.
Right. Yeah, I know.
They were very, very bad.
Typhoid.
Every way.
Polio. I mean, seriously, you look at it. You think about indoor plumbing. Think about if you had to go out in the heat and take a freaking deuce in a freaking 112-degree outhouse. I can't even imagine it.
Well, was it? I think it was. I was going to say World War I. I don't even think it was World War I. I think it was World War II. That was the first war where more people died from battlefield injury than from disease.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because why?
It wasn't World War I. Because
Penicillin.
World War I think, had more people die from just from hypothermia, freezing to death in the trenches and stuff.
Yeah. World War I and the American Civil War are the most terrifying things to go to a medical history museum.
Absolutely.
There are more bone saws and giant cutting devices and leaching things, and
not to mention no Geneva Convention. So the fields full of mustard gas and all that. I mean, that's
delightful.
It's horrific.
Yeah. People with cricket bats with barbed wire wrapped around them.
That's right. I love the smell of.
Yeah, we've all played Dead Rising.
I love the smell of mustard gas in the Bordeaux countryside. It's delightful. So the old times, they didn't have video games. That's pretty sucky.
Yeah. And to be honest, we would have found something else to do. I'm certain of it, but But I'm pretty happy playing video games in my air-conditioned house. What do you want?
Yeah. Sorry, call it bourgeois. That's what it is. I like to rough it by about a week a year. And by rough it, I mean go to a furnished cabin and sleep on a bed. That's roughing it. So
that's if I ever had to survive, if the apocalypse hits and I've got to survive somewhere other than my house, I like to think I'd do all right. I mean, I've got some survival skills. I've got all the gear I could possibly need. But the one big weakness in my armor, so to speak, is is coming up with food. I can't tell one plant from another. I mean, you could show me a tomato plant and poison ivy, and I couldn't identify the two.
I was going to say Rob's going to eat some berries and poison ivy salad the first days out in the woods. And his throat's going to seal shut.
Now, see, I know how to test for something being edible, but that process alone takes like 4 or 5 days.
Who's that? Feed it to somebody else? See what happens?
That's the quick method, yes.
Come here.
Exactly.
Hey, Timmy.
Exactly right.
I'm an expert.
But there's the whole thing where if you find a berry, you break it and rub it on your fingers, and then you wait like an hour, and if that's okay, then you do the same thing again, rub it on your arm, and then you wait like half a day, and then you rub it on your lip, and then you wait 2 days, and so there's this like progression to find out whether it'll actually kill you right off.
Now you're just all sticky.
Right, yeah. You're covered in berry juice,
And you get eaten by a bear. It's fine.
yes, that's right. That's right. I think it's the Bear Council is actually the one who came up with that method.
Yeah, you're being trolled by the bears. Stephen Colbert is right. Number one threat in America. Bears.
That's right.
Bears.
The guy in the next tent over just going, I think you need to rub more berries on yourself. He's got his rifle out. I'm just waiting. No, this isn't for you. Not at all.
Here, put on this shirt. I coated the inside with honey for you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's a analgesic. What?
So yeah, if the apocalypse hits, I'm happy to help you stay alive, but I'm gonna need some food.
In several days.
That's right.
Several days.
Several days and a long pointy bear stick.
Bear sticks are important. So, I was rooting around the house for some crap this week, and I found something. And I'll give you a hint. It wouldn't work because a certain item was broken, so I had to order a new one. And this is what I ordered. Wait for it. Oh no, what? That wrong way. Can't figure this mirror thing out.
Oh. A little DualShock.
I've got my PS2
Really?
out and rocking. I do. My we were opening it up. My son found it. He's like, "Dad, do you have any games for this?" So oh, yeah, man. Look,
it's probably like finding the Ark of the Covenant down.
For him it was. He's like, "That PS4?" He was like, "That's a PS4." I go, "No, it's not a PS4. Stop it. Back off." But he got I've got the Sonic Anthology, which has got like 5 Sonic games on it. Yeah. I've got what else is in that group of games? It was just it was like a ColecoVision collection. Nice. I got all kinds of stuff that, frankly, are in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Right. It's like games exactly for him. So
yeah.
I plugged it all in. I got an aftermarket controller. I don't know where the heck the rest of my controllers are. I think I might have sold them to somebody. And I went to do an aftermarket controller, and it wouldn't work. So I'm like, well, I better pick one up. So I'm figuring I go on Amazon there and pick up a controller. And so I saw, I do it by price. I saw there was a $9 or $10 one for on Prime. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Check this out. Of course, I always look at the reviews, right? And like I had 12 reviews, all 1 star. And that's because you can't give 0. And I quote, every one of the controllers that they had that was less than $10 broke within like 2 weeks. Or like they weren't pressure sensitive, so they're just crappy, push button controllers.
So
what's that? No, go ahead.
So anytime I buy controllers for console or PC, anything, I always buy. For some reason, I hate the knockoff controllers. I've never liked any of the knockoffs, like the Nikos, whatever those are, the Mad Cats. None of those. I can't use them. I like the OEM controllers.
So, without looking, how much you think I paid for this DualShock Sony branded controller? DualShock 2, not 3. DualShock 2, not 3.
$14.99.
$15. Oh.
$34.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, holy shit. And so I looked all over the place.
Yeah.
They're $34 everywhere.
Well, the PS2 is still, they're not still making new games for it, but I mean, it's still wildly popular.
Yeah, there's not production still, but
no.
They sold. I think the PS2 may have sold the most units of any video game console of all time. I bet you I can find a bunch of games for it at a Screw GameStop flea market.
And I think it has by far the most games for it of any console, I believe.
Oh, it had games made for it. Probably, what PS3 lasted about 10, 12 years. Is that how long
it had a really long life cycle. So
and PS2 was at least halfway, if not 2/3 of the way through that life cycle. That thing lasted forever. PS2 did.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have a PS2?
No, I did not.
Wow.
I was in the middle of moving around a lot with the Army, and so I was not playing any video games back then.
Yeah, that was me in the Navy. I played the Sega 64, and I fell off the map until the PS2. Rob, do you have a PS2?
I did not. I didn't have any. My roommate in college had a PS1, but I did not have a PS2. So it looks like, according to Wikipedia at least, the total number of games for PS2 is 3,870.
Wow. I would never have guessed it would be that many.
And there were 17 Persona games and 12 Tales of Xillia.
I'm looking at a dozen All-Star Baseballs here.
Oh yeah, but yeah, All-Star Baseball for every year.
Oh, Armored Core. I had forgotten about Armored Core.
Did you have like a LAN thing on the sub where you could play games or anything?
No. My submarine was built the year I was born.
Oh no.
We had the internet in port in like one or two spots. Remember, I was in, you're probably the same time. I was in the 90s, so so we had a couple standalone computers. That's where underway I played Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2. That's where I played both of those games. But yeah, no, not much of that at all. Yeah.
See, I knew guys who were on surface ships in Canada, and this is in the 90s, but they had like a LAN network that I don't know what they played, like
Quake or something?
Quake or something like that. It was a network game where they'd all get on, because they had like a computer lab with about half a dozen computers, and they would, play a LAN game on them.
That would be pretty cool, but the submarine doesn't have a whole lot of room.
Yeah.
So if you needed to do any of that stuff, and this is really before laptops got really, really, there were a lot of laptops. Most everything was on the desk, and so the only place you could probably do that would be in the actual mess decks, and all that would do is piss off the rest of the crew. That's the only spot where you could convene more than like 3 people in one spot and not want to murder each other. So, but yeah, no, we had some guys that some guys are funny. We'd be on port and we'd have duty, so you'd have to be on the ship for 24 hours, and while you're at going home, instead of going home, everybody else was gone. We had guys who wouldn't sleep. We had one guy who had a laptop. He'd bring it in, and he would play. I had his off watch time when he should have been sleeping or something else.
Yeah.
He would just play EverQuest. He would play. He would be up for almost 40 hours every duty day by the time he got to go home after work the next day.
Wow.
And he would just play freaking EverQuest. And I remember watching EverQuest, and I'm like, it was really blocky back in the day.
Oh yeah.
It was really, really. I mean, I never really got into it. And I thought I was really kind of big into Diablo at that point, because that's when the first Diablo 2, Diablo 2 came out, actually. And I thought that was cool, but I kept looking at this EverQuest going, and so he was trying to explain it to me, and I'd never played an MMO before. And I'm like, man, that sounds like a lot of time investment, especially back in those days. That was old school, right?
Right. Yeah. That was back when that's when you really had to grind.
Well, you died, people would take crap off your body.
Yeah.
They could loot you.
Because I started playing when Asheron's Call came out, and Asheron's Call was like the spiritual successor to EverQuest is what they were comparing it to.
Asheron's Call, I played that. I remember those stupid tapers to cast any spell. Yeah. You needed thousands of like little bits of crap.
So you had like 6 levels of spells when I played, 5 or 6, but they ended up with 7 or 8 now. But yeah, you had above a certain level, you had to have these candles, these tapers, and the tapers, the color, there were like 8, 9 different colors that you could use for the spells, but it was different for everybody. So once you got to like level 4, you had to start incorporating 1 or more tapers, but you had to figure out what colors you needed. So I mean, you would sit there for hours trying to find these spells, and they would burn out at random. So I mean, you could buy some and then burn through them and not find your spell, and so yeah, it was that game definitely got better as time went on. There were a lot of helper apps for it that really did help, and I think they improved the whole component usage and all that, but.
I find that a really weird game, because when I think back about it, like I played that game pretty heavily for a couple of years, and I have almost no recollection of anything in it. Like just,
Yeah.
like really, like I can remember the tapers. And I just remember a general sense of frustration. I don't remember the storyline. I don't remember any.
Well, yeah, there was in the beginning at least there wasn't a whole lot of. Well, I shouldn't say that because I'll get corrected, but there wasn't really like a worldwide or a server-wide storyline in the beginning at least. There were individual storylines and some story arcs and different quests and things, but they added a considerable amount of content over the years. In fact, because Asheron's Call 2 came and went, and people are still playing AC1.
Yeah.
Didn't they release
fact,
the code into the wild, the servers into the wild?
I don't know if they have yet. I know they talked about doing that. Turbine was going to do that. Was Turbine, right? I think it was Turbine.
I don't even know.
But yeah, they talked about doing that, and that's pretty slick. And I knew a guy who actually lived in Texas. Was former Army like cartographer is what he said, but I think it was more than that. And he organized all of our, at the time we didn't call them raids, but that's what they were. You know, and he was really good at like information gathering and you know, quest notes and all that stuff. And he was on 24/7. You know, he was out of the military and had nothing but free time, and it was just amazing how much time he spent in that thing. So I have no doubt that he's running a server right now.
You know, it's funny you get that now. It's amazing to me, and Jeff and I both played a lot of WoW. Jeff, are you still playing at all?
No, I haven't played for maybe 4 years.
Oh, you haven't played WoW in like 4 years?
No.
Oh, yeah. Really? Wow.
No, because it's shift work was what did it in for me. Like I played steadily for about 4 years, and I would get a character up to the max level, and I could never do raiding.
Raids.
Because I could never commit to a regular night. So, and I like anytime I tried, you know, the people that I would be raiding with would like they were good about it, but like I just felt bad because like I couldn't be relied on for anything. So I did the same thing. I'll start another character and I'd take it up to whatever the level cap was at the time, and then I'd start, and then I just kind of got bored with that.
Yeah, because rating's really where it's at. Progression rating's where it's at. I've got 3 or 4 90s now. They had there was a long time between the end of this expansion and the new one. Long time. It's still not going to be till November. But you're exactly right, I think. But there's still those people that in WoW have been playing for, I don't know, the game's what, 8 years old? No, 10 years old almost?
10, yeah.
It's the 10th anniversary. And they probably logged 40 hours a week, maybe?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Still? Every week since inception? That to me is pretty either OCD or something. Because I play maybe 3 hours a week now.
Yeah.
Right now, just I jump on.
That's something that like you don't hear. At least I haven't heard it as much recently, but you used to hear it fairly frequently. Like, oh, who's going to knock WoW off? You know, who's going to be the WoW killer? I don't think it's possible to be a WoW killer now.
No. Because
it's a habit. Those people are there. You know, it's like it's like when they had to have a baseball strike for people to realize how boring baseball was, because people just watch it all the time and they're just in this kind of rut of watching baseball, and for them it's enjoyable. And then I think when they had the strike, that it took a while for people to come back to it because baseball is such a habit, and I think WoW is like that. I don't think you can have something knock WoW off the top because it's got this entrenched group of people that are just been doing it for so long.
Not only entrenched though, you've got it's got so much content now.
Yeah.
Right? That even like when we were playing Guild Wars 2, we had guys who played Guild Wars 2, played it till endgame, and then went back to WoW.
Right.
And so because you're never going to get an MMO that's going to release out of the gate with more content than WoW, and it's probably going to be pretty unlikely that you'll get a new game where they'll be able to come up with content fast enough to keep somebody involved. Now, they may go back to Guild Wars 2 or whatever comes next, but the sheer amount of content is staggering.
Right, and it's not just amount; it's a diversity, right? So, if you like endgame rating, there's something for you. If you like PvP, if you like it in a group setting, there's either arenas where you can do it in a team setting or a large group where you can do battlegrounds. There's you can craft and just do crafting all the time. You can play the auction house game where you can go and make items and sell things and try to corner the market. There's a whole economic game you can play in the game. People do that. There's completionists. When they put achievements in, and I know everybody's achievements. They tied it to like kind of meaningful things.
Yeah.
Like do a certain do some certain crazy things.
Yeah.
Like they also tied it into people's OCD.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big aspect of that, I think, in a lot of achievements of games. But honestly, that's one of the things that kind of motivates me. And I don't go out of my way to get the really hard ones, but I like seeing that little flag pop up every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's especially nice when you get one you're not going for, right? So the sort of like random ones. Okay, so just back to what we were talking about before. So what did I say? How many PS2 games were there? Did I say there were
3,400 and some?
So if we're gonna, would you compare PS2 to what? 360? Because that's second generation.
No, it'd be Xbox. The original Xbox.
Original Xbox.
Yeah.
So original Xbox had. Hold on, I had it here. Wait for it. So if you're talking just North America titles, 284.
Wow.
I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
8% of the games that
we're seeing the same thing now, right? We're seeing the content out of the PS4 just burying the Xbox One.
Yeah, but there are a lot of other factors now too. I mean, no question that they've got more titles, especially coming out faster and all that. But I think now we're dealing with the exclusivity of different titles and but I mean, I think that since PlayStation had more to start with, they've got a lot more source material to create sequels, and so I don't think Xbox is ever going to be able to catch up with Sony as far as sheer amount of content.
And that's fine. It's just a matter of to me, it's amazing how slowly stuff gets released by the X. You would think you would have a whole bunch of stuff in a phased fashion to put out. In Xbox defense for the Xbox original Xbox versus PS2, when the Xbox 360 came out, they pretty much stopped making software for the Xbox. Right?
Yeah.
There wasn't much that
overnight
came out afterwards. It was done. It was like buy 360 if you want any games because we're not doing this original Xbox thing anymore.
But that's always been Microsoft's approach to things, though. I mean, it's Windows 8 comes out, we're done with Windows 7. Windows 7, we don't.
What's that again?
Did we ever make a Windows 7? No, we haven't heard of it. And that's always been their approach to licensing and everything else. So the minute they've got a new one out, they're done. And I give Sony a lot of credit for that. I mean, they still because they're still making PS3 stuff.
Oh, strong. There's now
they're doing like multi-platform releases and stuff where you can get it on 3 or 4.
And I think Microsoft picked up on that because they're doing the same thing, right? There's 360 games coming out. There's and it's not necessarily all exclusive 360, but at least when it's multi-platform, it's both Xbox One and 360. I think they realized the install base isn't quite as big as it needs to be.
Right.
To go only Xbox One.
I don't know how a company could morally say, like we have the new sexy, Xbox 360, so we are now no longer going to produce Xbox stuff. How do you morally take that stance, knowing that they were still producing Xboxes a month ago and somebody bought them?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Absolutely.
Well, I think they justify it by saying that there's enough existing content out there. You can still get the titles for it. We're just not producing anything new.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's right, but that's their justification.
You guys know a lot more about consoles than I do, but like the Xboxes, they tended to be there weren't nearly the number of independent games that were out for them, right? That was more of a PlayStation thing.
No, I think Xbox had a fair number of. They weren't all first title. What do they call those? First party, I guess, titles. There were. If you look at the list on Wikipedia of their games, I mean,
For are you talking about the Xbox One or the Xbox or Xbox 360? Or because the
You said,
Xbox.
you
What's
said
that?
Xbox, right? Original
Oh,
Xbox.
original?
Yeah, for the original one.
Oh yeah, not
Yeah,
as much.
I mean, they're a ton. I mean, they're EA Sports, THQ, Namco.
He's talking indie though.
Yeah.
Small
Oh, you mean
developer.
indie specifically? So not just okay. I thought you meant just first party versus third party, but you're talking indie.
Yeah, because like when they step away from it, like if there's a strong indie group, like obviously there was for the PlayStation 2 because those people still kept writing stuff forever, right? But when they stepped away, it seemed like that completely just dried up on the Xbox
Well,
side.
right, and I think a lot of that has to do with that's sort of Microsoft's waxing and waning support for independent developers. So,
Yeah.
if Microsoft decides to stop supporting their development tools, it's pretty hard to continue using them. In a lot of cases, you
Yeah.
can't use them legally. So, um, and I think Sony has, like you say, a better track record, a better history of working with independent developers
Yeah.
that are using their tools to produce for their platform.
I think if you're an independent developer and you have to, you have to decide where you're going to put your time, I think it's pretty much hands down. Well, I don't know about now, but certainly back then, your time was far better spent on a PlayStation platform than on the Xbox because of that. You knew you were more likely to have that support coming from Sony rather than Microsoft.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think what happened with the original Xbox is it was new. Nobody has expected it to be as cool as it did, and then you had a couple of hits that came out like out of nowhere that were kind of, I want to say, revolutionary compared to some of the games that were out there. The specific one I'm thinking of is Halo, right? Combat Evolved came out, and that pushed consoles. That sold so many consoles for Microsoft, and you want to say it was the thing that saved the original Xbox. It probably was, because original Xbox had its issues, certainly, and the PlayStation brand was certainly much more developed. But that led directly into, what actually I think vaulted Microsoft into all this was how successful the 360 launch was, and how rough and how what was it? The PS3 came out later, right, or before? I think it was later, right? Quite a
I
bit
think
later.
later, but not much.
Only like a year. I thought it was like some crazy amount of time. And you'd had Halo 3 come out by then. You had came out right on the heels. You had Gears of War launch. You had all these big major what ended up being console titles, and now it's just a matter of figuring out how to freaking do that with the Xbox One. Even though you talk about independent developers, there's a whole freaking crap ton of independent stuff coming to the Xbox One in the next couple of months.
Right.
They changed their dev kits to be actually usable by people.
I'm curious to try that out a little bit. What I'm hoping they do is basically give it away, and then if you want to get listed on the store or something, then that's when you got to start paying up for it. Because I looked at their development program, because you get a development kit for 360, and I'm actually a .NET developer, by profession, so I was curious to play around with it a bit, but never really have, I don't have enough time to actually produce a full game. I just kind of wanted to see how it worked and see what the development cycle was like. But it was, $100, $150 a year or something, and I mean, for something I'm not really gonna get into, it's not necessarily worth it. But I'd love to play around with it.
If you do develop a game, can I do the voiceover work?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Come here. How's that? You like that?
Oh, what?
Hey, what? Hmm?
You could be surprised guard number 3.
What? What?
Huh?
Huh?
It's like it reminds me of the other game I've been playing this week is Far Cry Blood Dragon, and that's just a riot, and it's full of that like clueless guards and catchphrases, and it's just so over the top.
Like those guys in Borderlands.
I think
I almost had my comic book collection done.
yes, exactly.
I just needed one more. I can do Foley work for you. Like this
Yeah.
is anything this is a rattlesnake. I know. See? I have all kinds of talent. What's that?
Rattlesnake sounding a little old.
Well, it's got a loose rattle.
Those are mad skills.
Exactly, man. Hold on, one more of the horse.
No, that sounds like somebody walking down a hallway.
Okay. that too. It's multi-purpose.
You just do the sounds, and then we'll figure out what they are later.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. You guys got anything else going on? We've been yapping for a while here.
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, Jeff, when you're not joining us here on the Grumpy Old Men program, where can the party people find you at, sir?
People can listen to my podcast that I do with Julie Keel and Mike McPeak, Sci-Fi Tech Talk, and people can follow me on Twitter at Bronco Sire. That's SYER.
Fantastic. Rob, what about you, sir?
You can find me on mainly these days on Steam or Xbox Live, just Robot Spider. On Twitter at Robot_Spider. And you can find out more about us on the website, GamingAfterDark.com.
Fantastical. You can find me all those places, or at the Twitter handle at GameAfterDark or at GoMadShow. Check us out. I'm Lothar77 on Xbox Live, ShakyLegs77 on Steam, and ShakyLegs777 on PSN. There it is, Trips 7. I believe all the quarters are now supposed to fall out of the bottom of my desk.
Yes.
I had all the 7s that had fire on it. You can send us an email at gomadshow@gmail.com. If you email show@gmail.com, I don't know who the heck you're going to get, so it'll be fine. Apparently Hulk does smash. So thanks for joining us again, everybody, this week. For Jeff and for Rob, I'm Jason, and we will see you in-game.
See y'all.
And we're out. Well done.
Excellent.
Gentle peoples.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I am so glad you could make it.
We never seem to lack for stuff to talk about when the three of us get together.
Yeah.
It's true, even when we don't have a plan. I love it when a don't have a plan comes together. One of these days, I don't know.
Oh, Jeff, I don't know if you're planning on playing Gauntlet at all. If you have any interest on that on Steam.
Gauntlet. Does it have a Mac?
Oh, damn it! That's right. You're a Mac
The
guy.
blue dwarf does need food
Let
badly.
me see. They might.
You said it's on Steam, right?
Yeah. It drops on September 3rd.
Gauntlet. Is this like the old arcade one?
It's a reboot, but yes.
Oh, okay.
It's all
Jeez.
3D'd up.
That has been a long time since I've.
They had a few reboots actually in the past. They had one on, I think, on 360, maybe the original Xbox, but that was actually kind of fun. Had a lot of fun playing that multiplayer.
Oh, it's just Microsoft.
Oh, really? Okay.